Hello, my friends. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. My name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. And every week we talk about things that are related to recovery. We talk about mental health. We talk about addiction. We talk about quite a few things. And I'm actually taking a different approach with this season. One thing I wanted to do differently was I wanted to make a whole bunch of small content videos. And before I made season one, and they were long form content, some of those videos reached up to like 30, 40 minutes. So these season two, we're going to have more frequent episodes and they're going to be smaller and bite size. In addition to that, I've actually got some other cool stuff where if you are interested, because it's now bite size, I can get the notes sent out to you. So there's show notes every episode. And then if you type the word notes in the comments below, if you're watching on Facebook, I'll have Facebook Messenger send you those notes directly to your messenger. If you're watching over on YouTube, you have to go to an address and it's outstanding.video/notes. And then we'll have it sent out to you as well. But again, if you're watching and you're new, leave a comment, say hello, let me know what's going on. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate that. So for this episode, we're actually talking about fear, and it's something that's really important to me. And so the title of that I put out there as a notice was, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And for me, before I joined the world of recovery, before I turned things around, when things were bad and things were not looking good, and when I was having challenging scenarios and I wasn't really in a good mindset or headspace or environment, I had been filled with fear. And it wasn't until I embraced my recovery, and it wasn't until I moved forward, and it wasn't until I took that first step that I was able to examine that fear and appreciate it for what it was, to give it the recognition and identify it for what it's worth. Before, in my addiction, as I would live this turmoil, as I would move forward through these challenges, I began to wonder why things were happening to me, and I could never understand. It was never my fault. It was always the girlfriend I was dating. It was always the job I had. It was always the stressful situation. It was always something else other than me to blame. And I would blame everything else but me. But secretly, I knew. Isn't that crazy how you know? Even deep down, you know. And I knew it was my fault. I knew it was my causing. It was my doing. And I didn't want it to happen, but yet I would manifest these events. And my fear was facing that thought and coming to an accountability for it. Coming that, I was afraid that I had a choice, and I was afraid that I had a chance to change it. And I was just choosing not to change. I was just choosing not to, I was afraid of putting the effort in or having it not work out. And for the longest time, the longer I held on to my addiction, the longer that I let that fear make decisions for me, the stronger my fear grew. And nobody wants to have a fearful life. Nobody wants to have fearful pheromones. Everybody wants to have a happy life. And despite what I had wanted, I was creating the opposite. And I wasn't open to the idea of change. I wasn't open to growth. I wasn't open to identifying my fear. And it wasn't until I took that first step, and it wasn't until I moved forward, that in recovery, once I was in rehab, I began to notice that if I was left unchecked, if my fear was left unchecked, and if my fear continued to make decisions for me, my life would be very different than what it is now. And it didn't matter who was trying to explain that to me, and it didn't matter who was trying to share that with me. I wasn't open to that idea. It didn't matter if it was my family or my friends. I wasn't in a spot to entertain that idea. And it wasn't until I came to that threshold of my own, once I approached that door of fear, once I peered in through the window, that it not that it became real. I don't want to say that it became manageable either, but I began to appreciate that fear is a signal that's telling me that something needs to change. And once I was able to identify that, yes, that it doesn't matter what that feeling is, no matter what the sensation is. So if I'm feeling fearful, if I'm feeling afraid, if my pheromones are on fire and I'm anxious, that's a signal. I've identified my emotions now, that's a signal telling me that something needs to change. And if I'm avoiding it, and if I'm not dealing with it, the only time that that's going to change is when I do something to change it. But things aren't going to get, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I have no one else to blame but me. I'm the one that's in control of that. I'm the one that can determine, I can't shift the outcome overnight, but what I can do is start making decisions today, right now, in this moment, that this is something I'm no longer going to tolerate. That this is a life I don't want to move forward with. And if what I want is something different, then I have to be willing to do something different. If I want something I've never had before, I'm going to have to do something I've never done before. And that might include facing my fears. That might include going into this, in my recovery, before recovery, in my addiction. I don't know about you, but I am very good at, even to this day, I can identify it. Like, I am very good at, if there's a light and I'm shining it down, the light I'm shining on is going to be over in this area. And I'm really, really good at shining the light over here. But there's also some darker spots over here. And if I don't go into those darker spots, and if I shine the light only onto here, and I'm very good at directing the attention over here, that doesn't take away the darker spots. It doesn't take away the shadows. That doesn't take away the darkness that's there. And some of the rituals of recovery, it's the exercise of going into those darker spots. It's going into those shadows. And it's doing the work that's needed. It's going in and challenging that fear. I don't want to say flushing that fear out, but it's giving it that, giving it the 3 seconds that you need. Don't live in the fear. I'm clear about not letting fear make decisions for me. But what I am clear on is identifying the root cause of it and saying, hey, what part of me is feeling this? What part of me is feeling anxious? What part of me is feeling angry, upset, resentful, negative? Rather than let these fears run amok, uncontrolled, unbewildered, without any lassos on them, for lack of a better word, they're going to run rampant. And it's in those mindset, as soon as I'm making a decision, things are going to compound, things are going to domino effect. And then if left unchecked, that's going to lead to an outcome that I'm not looking forward to. So what I want something different. And what I want is something more. And I can't do that if I'm not being open, willing, or ready. So what does that look like? What does that mean? That means, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? If I wasn't afraid right now of this, whatever it is I'm sensing, what would I do? I was talking with one of my friends, and they were telling me about they were afraid of something. They were afraid of planning a trip, I think it was. They were afraid of organizing the whole thing, and normally it's all done for them, and there was too much for them to want to think about or to organize, and that daunting planning was what was stopping them. And they identified that I'm afraid of organizing all of that, putting it all together and having it not work out. And then I thought about it for a second, and I asked them, I was like, what would you do if you weren't afraid, though? If you could face that, conquer it, what would that look like on the other side? And they're like, well, that would be an amazing trip. That would be the best trip ever. I'm like, then let that make the decisions for you. Let that run the show. It's not a blindfold positivity, but it's shutting down that fear, controlling it, and limiting it, giving it that 3 seconds, that 10 seconds, breathe and move forward, move on. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for adding value. I've got these little overlays. So I've got, my name is Jason. I'm with the Outstanding Life Show. If you're interested and you want to go and hang out, if you like what we're talking about, you want to know more, I have these show notes set up. So in case you wanted to hang out, you can type notes in the comments. I'm actually going to go check out the comments now. And we have, oh, Kathleen is here. Hello, Kathleen. Thanks for hanging out. Hold on, I'm going to remove the overlay. Oh, no, the wrong one. Let's bring Kathleen back. Hello, Kathleen. Thanks again for hanging out. I really appreciate that. I've got the ManyChat working for the notes. I'm still working on the Integromat. I want to get that up and running. The benefit behind Integromat for me is that I can get people to communicate both on Facebook and on YouTube. Although my larger audience is on Facebook. So I think I might focus on that for a while until I nail down this Integromat idea. But enough geeky talk. But yeah, so in each one of these episodes, I do want to have something fun. I just don't want it to be a data dump of information. I want it to be something we can move forward with, celebrate, ask questions about. So we have a gratitude of the day, and then we have an action of the day. So from a gratitude perspective, I'm thankful that I have my family and I have my friends and I have my community like you guys, where I feel that sense of appreciation. Like I feel that sense of warmth. I feel love. And it's through that love that I can see that my message is stronger than my fear. I was deathly afraid of going live. I was so afraid of starting this, of hitting the camera, and I still do to this day. And, I wonder, if I never went live, what would that look like? When I was learning, I haven't shared this with anybody, but when I was learning about how to do the live video, there'd be times where I would turn the camera on, on my phone. I'd have my phone here, and I would have it ready, turn the camera on, get my finger over the go live button, and then I would sit there, or I'd be walking up and down because it's a nice sunny day out, and I'd be walking up and down the street, getting ready to go live. And then I would hover my thumb over the button to go live, and that adrenaline, the adrenaline monster, I don't know if you can appreciate that, but the adrenaline monster, I would sit there, or I'd stand there, I'd be walking until I'd been walking for so long that my phone battery was dying, like it got to 20%. So going from 100% down to 20%, that's a long time to go walking without going live. And that's an example of letting my fear make decisions for me. Now, rather than worry about it, I just hit the go live button anyways. Because 30 seconds after going live, I no longer have those jitters. Like, I still get them, but I don't let those jitters make decisions for me. So in today's gratitude, I'm thankful that I have this community. I'm thankful that I have my friends and family. And I'm thankful for you for showing up, saying hello. It means a lot to me. I appreciate all the questions you guys ask, and you send me messages, and you ask some pretty unique things. So I do want to celebrate that, and thank you again. So we have a gratitude of the day, and we also have an action of the day. So with today's action, I'm gonna list 3 ways that I've learned important things from facing my fear. And what do I mean by that? I mean, earlier I mentioned walking up to that door, walking up to the arch of fear before moving through it, and just giving it that 3 seconds. Don't revel in fear, but just identify that it's there, appreciate it, that it's a signal telling us that something needs to change, and then use that as a motivator. Fear can move you. Fear can be a great motivator if controlled, if managed, if identified. But as long as you don't live in fear, kind of like I was in my addiction. My fear was making decisions for me, and I was running rampant and out of control. I wasn't very positive, and I wasn't very healthy either. But now I'm thankful that I have that opportunity to share. I have a wonderful community, supportive friends. So thank you again for adding value, and thank you for showing up. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next show. Again, my name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. If you're new here, leave a comment, say hello, shoot me a message. If you like the notes, if you like what we're talking about, you want to find out more, type notes in the comments. Or if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, go to outstanding.video/notes, and then we'll have a Facebook message sent out to you. All right, everyone. Take care. Thanks for showing up. Have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.